The WNBA just can't get out of their own way. A bunch of children, a bunch of victims, a bunch of activists, a bunch of incompetent nincompoops are running this league. Not only running this league, a bunch of nincompoops, members of the WNBA Players Association, as they are shutting Sophie Cunningham down. The viral pointing meme.
A point, not a taunt, not a shove, not a word you'd have to bleep out. A point. And according to the report we're about to pull apart, it is now effectively contraband. So the only question that matters here, what makes a league do this to its own biggest meme of the season?
The WNBA and the Players Association are saying no more. I don't want anybody to make $1 or a dime or an ounce or a cent off of this Sophie Cunningham pointing meme. You can't make this.
And notice what's actually being shut down, because nobody is fining Sophie Cunningham for pointing. This is about the money around the point. The shirts, the posters, the trading cards an official licensee would love to print. The gesture born in that June stare-down with Dewana Bonner has been the most requested image in women's basketball ever since. And per this report, companies asking for permission to use it are being told no. A league hungry for every new revenue stream just looked at free demand. Demand it did nothing to create and reportedly slammed the door on it. Hold on to the exact word they used, because the word is the whole case. Rock M Nation
up. Now, they deemed it as derogatory. They deemed a pointing meme, a pointing gesture, as derogatory.
Derogatory? That is not a throwaway word, and it is not a vibe. In the licensing world, derogatory is a category. The box a league or a union checks when it refuses to put its official stamp on an image. The second that word shows up in a rejection, this stops being internet drama and becomes a deliberate classification somebody made at a desk. So file it away, because near the end of this video the union's own explanation surfaces, on the record, and it quietly tells you exactly what they think this point is. That part is stranger than the ban itself. First though, you need to see what this gesture has become out in the real world.
That would mean so much to me. Every camper gets a photo with Sophie Cunningham, and yes, as you'd expect, they all want to do the signature point. I want to point with Sophie Cunningham. I want to do the pointing meme with Sophie Cunningham. She's a superstar. She's a sensation. She went viral. I want to do the pointing meme. I want to do the...
Because that clip is not an exaggeration. Just this past weekend at her youth camp in Carmel, Indiana, kids from 1st through 8th grade lined up so every camper could get their photo doing the point with her. That's the ground level. At the top level, this meme has traveled places WNBA content almost never goes. John Cena has referenced it. Major brands have recreated it in their own posts, and even the White House account jumped on the trend. A comedian on a national show joked the pose should replace the league's actual logo. Nobody at headquarters focus grouped any of that. No agency invoiced for it. A player did something in a game. The internet did what the internet does, and suddenly Sophie Cunningham has a signature. The kind of instantly recognizable identity that marketing departments spend entire budgets chasing and almost never catch. Caitlin Clark brought the eyeballs to Indiana. Cunningham turned a single frame into a brand, and signatures sell. So when the people who control this league's merchandise look at the one image 7-year-olds are begging to recreate and reach for the word derogatory instead of the word opportunity, that is a choice. Which brings us to the man who surfaced it, because who is saying this matters as much as what is being said? Yahoo Sports Central Oregon Daily.
Darren Rovell, a highly respected sports business journalist, someone who's worked at ESPN, someone who has over 1 million followers on Twitter, a name that should be taken seriously, comes out and says the WNBA Players Association is currently prohibiting licensees from using the Sophie point, saying that it is derogatory.
So let's be precise about the claim, because precision is where this story lives or dies. Darren Rovell is not a burner account chasing engagement. Years at ESPN covering the business side of sports, now running his own collectibles media company. 1.8 million followers, and a career built on licensing deals, memorabilia, and the paperwork side of sports that nobody else finds glamorous. Licensing is not adjacent to his beat. Licensing is his beat, and what he reported is narrow and specific. The Players Association, which controls group licensing rights for every player in this league, is telling licensees they cannot use the Sophie point, and the reason attached to the rejection is that it's derogatory. Now, in fairness to everybody involved, at the moment that post went up, this was one journalist citing his own sourcing. No official statement, no press release, and we are going to treat it as a report until the people involved actually speak. Which, spoiler, they eventually do. But there is a difference between a rumor and a reporter with receipts, because when somebody in the replies called it a made-up story, Rovell did not walk back a single word.
No, they aren't. That's a made-up story. It's very real. Just spoke to someone at a big company who showed me their rejection.
He said he had seen a rejection, shown to him by someone at a big company. Think about what has to happen for that document to exist. A real business went through the real process. Request the rights, plan the product, submit for approval, and understand who these licensees are. The Players Association has dozens of licensed partners, including the video game company 2K, apparel brands, and the trading card giant Panini. These are not side hustles. These are the companies that turn athletes into products at scale. And per Rovell's account, at least one of them asked for the single most in-demand image in the league and got told no on derogatory grounds. Here is where the business logic eats itself. Demand does not evaporate because a union refuses to invoice it. It migrates. Every dollar an official partner is blocked from collecting flows straight to unlicensed sellers, who will never send Sophie Cunningham, the union, or any player a cent. The union doesn't kill the point by blocking it. It just removes its own members from the payout. And for a players' association whose entire reason for existing is maximizing what players earn, walking away from found money is the kind of decision that had better come with an excellent explanation. The fans reading Rovell's post did not wait around for one. Yahoo Sports.
People are reacting to this. Kathy has to go, with Adam Silver having to step in and do her job, the fake racism claims, and now the point is outlawed. Wow, just wow. I was going to wait for an official Sophie point tee, but I'll buy one off Etsy now. All leadership positions in the WNBPA need to be replaced. I've seen kids run a lemonade stand better than whoever runs the WNBA business.
The Etsy comment is the whole economy in one sentence. A paying customer, wallet out, announcing in public that they're being redirected from the official store to a stranger's craft page. Multiply that by everyone who saw the report. Then look at the temperature underneath it. Kathy has to go, replace every leadership position. Kids run lemonade stands better. That is fan fury talking. And let's keep this honest. The commissioner does not personally review merch submissions, and this report points at the Players Association side of the house anyway, not the league office. But leaders own the weather, and the weather around this league's business decisions has been storms for a long time now. So here is the honest counter-argument, because this channel does not do straw men. A players' union exists to protect players. Blocking genuinely derogatory merchandise is literally the job description. If a company tried to print a shirt mocking a player, you would want the union to torch that request without a second thought. The question fans are shouting into the void is a different one entirely. Derogatory to whom? The player doing the pointing loves it. She signs it, she poses it, she built a camp photo line around it. The kids love it, the cameras love it. If there is an injured party here, nobody has publicly named one. And when an organization enforces a rule without ever explaining who it protects, people stop assuming there's a reason and start assuming there isn't one. Our commentator, for his part, has a theory about what kind of league operates this way.
This is why, outside of Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, this is why I clown on everything regarding this league as frequently as I do, because it's not to be taken serious. It's a drama. It's a reality show. It's a soap opera. The Real Housewives of the W.
Reality show is meant as an insult there, but it accidentally describes exactly where this point was born. So let me take you back. June 22nd, Fever versus Mercury. A game already boiling over, with Caitlin Clark and Dewana Bonner exchanging words late, and Clark picking up a technical. Cunningham walks over to the officials to argue that if Clark gets one, Bonner deserves one too. She's pointing at Bonner while making her case, and Bonner, by Cunningham's own telling on her podcast, tells her not to point at her. So Cunningham keeps pointing. No words, just the finger, held for roughly 22 seconds without breaking eye contact, until a Fever staffer finally steers her toward the bench, and both players get hit with technicals. And there's a layer under the layer. Bonner is the player who left the Fever midway through the previous season, so an Indiana fanbase watching her get silently pointed at was always going to turn that clip into a national holiday. Cunningham has since laughed that getting into opponents' heads is simply part of how she plays. So let's be fair about what this actually was. A needle, aimed at a specific opponent in a heated moment. Even Yahoo's own write-up made the case that the original gesture wasn't exactly kind. That context does not settle anything. but it explains why lawyers ever ended up involved with a finger. Hold that thought, because this is where the double standard starts to wobble the league story. Central Oregon Daily +5.
Disgusting, man. Pointing at someone is derogatory. Official team page tweeting an actual violent act. No big deal. This is the real deal Holyfield, folks. This guy's legit. She seems like an awesome ambassador to the game. The WNBA doesn't know how to handle attention. You embrace it for the month, then turn.
The double standard is what fans keep circling. One commenter under the report claimed an official team account once posted a genuinely violent on-court moment like it was content. That is an unverified comparison from a comment section, so weigh it accordingly, but it captures the mood perfectly. People believe this league amplifies conflict when conflict drives clicks, then reaches for the rulebook the moment a player becomes the face of it. And with Cunningham specifically, there is a track record of the hammer finding her. She has said on her own podcast that the league fined her 3 separate times for comments made in its first 3 episodes, fined for talking. Meanwhile, the point itself has evolved into the most wholesome version of trash talk imaginable. When Mercury fans mocked her with the gesture in Phoenix earlier this month, she waited until the Fever finished off the win, then pointed right back at the crowd while her teammates cracked up. That is a player taking a heated moment and alchemizing it into charm, night after night. The ambassador line in that comment section is simply accurate. Players who make a league fun are not a problem to be managed. They are the entire reason casual fans stick around. But before you conclude the people running this sport have lost their minds completely, you need to hear the precedent. Because there is one. It comes from the biggest league in basketball, and it changes how you should read everything you've seen so far. Rock M Nation.
Leaving this here for the people that are smarter than 50 years of sports business. Darren Ravel is telling the truth. Leagues and unions have been long forbidden using derogatory NIL. The most popular NBA student example of this is the Reggie Miller choke and crotch grab. There she is, Helen of Troy. There she is, Helen of Troy, Sophie Cunningham herself.
The Reggie Miller comparison is real history. His choke gesture at Madison Square Garden is one of the most famous images the NBA ever produced, and it has long been cited as exactly the kind of moment leagues and unions keep off official merchandise. For the same stated reason, it was aimed at somebody, and it was born from conflict. So no, this is not some WNBA-only madness. Blocking that category of image is standard operating procedure across sports, and the commenter who raised it wasn't defending the league so much as confirming that Rovel's reporting fits a long pattern. But sit with what that reframe actually does, because it moves the scandal instead of erasing it. The shock was never that a league can refuse to license a gesture. Of course it can. The shock is the classification. By reportedly filing the Sophie point under derogatory, the people who control this league's merchandising are telling you how they see it internally. Not as a celebration, not as a harmless meme, but as an act of hostility toward another player, sitting on the same shelf as Reggie's choke. The internet watched that stare down and saw a superstar being born. The union office looked at the same footage and apparently saw an incident report. Both readings can describe the same 3 seconds of video, and the gap between them is the entire story, which is why what happened next matters. Because once this blew up, real newsrooms went to work.
Yeah, WNBA delivers denial of Sophie Cunningham's pointing meme. You got sports, you got Yahoo Sports reporting this. You got Sporting News reporting this. Again, do you know what Yahoo Sports and Sporting News is doing before reporting this themselves? Before they write an article themselves, do you know what they're doing? They're calling him immediately. They're calling him immediately.
Watch what the grown-up outlets did with this. Because it's a quiet masterclass in how stories get confirmed. Yahoo Sports and Sporting News did not screenshot a tweet and hit publish. Before writing a word themselves, they went straight to the source. And that step matters, because when a claim sounds this absurd, the sourcing is the story. Aggregators repeat, newsrooms verify. And the fact that legacy sports media treated this as worth verifying tells you they didn't think it smelled fake either. But real verification does something else too. It shakes the other side loose. Once this had legs, context started arriving. First through reporters who cover this league closely, and then from the union itself, on the record. And I need you to listen to this next clip carefully, because buried inside 2 sentences of very boring, very lawyerly language is the actual answer to the question we opened with. How does a point end up banned? It is not because somebody woke up offended. It is colder than that. It is written down, blanket, applies to everyone policy. And once you hear it, you'll understand why I said the league told on itself.
Some context. The WNBPA has a blanket policy to not monetize confrontation-coded moments between its members. Players, however, are free to create and/or license their own NIL with any brand. Again, Sirat Sohi.
There it is, and here's the part the rant skips right past. The reporting he's reading from Erupts Sohi matches what the union then confirmed in its own words. When Front Office Sports went to the Players Association directly, the union did not deny Rovel's report. Instead, a spokesperson explained that for licensed apparel, the union generally avoids featuring or monetizing player conduct that comes out of a confrontation between its own members. Read that back slowly, because there are two admissions hiding inside it. First, this reportedly is not about Sophie Cunningham at all. Nobody sat in a room deciding to punish her. A blanket rule got applied on autopilot, which means Rovel's report and the union's defense are both true at the same time. Licensees really are being told no, and the no really is just paperwork. Second admission, and this is the one we've been building toward. For that policy to even apply, the union's own machinery has to classify the point as a confrontation moment between players, officially, in the file. The most beloved, most kid-friendly, most merchandisable image this league has produced all season is, by its own internal definition, a conflict. That is the answer we held from the open. The point is not shelved because it offends the public. It is shelved because this league's institutions cannot bring themselves to touch their own drama. Even the playful kind. Even when the player at the center of it is running photo lines with first graders. And now the punchline, because the union confirmed this part too. Players remain completely free to create or license their own products around the moment, even with the union's own brand partners. Meaning Sophie Cunningham can go sell the point herself. Her name, her deal, her money, no union approval required. They will not profit from it. They will not let their partners profit from it, but she can. That is either a principled line about never cashing in on player conflict, or the funniest own goal in the history of sports licensing. Yahoo Sports. Yahoo Sports.
The league is a joke. The Players Union is a joke. The Players Association is a joke. Kathy Engelbert's a joke. Outside of Caleb Clark, outside of Sophie Cunningham, and I can't even say outside the Indiana Fever because we see how the Indiana Fever are run. So outside of Caleb Clark and Sophie Cunningham, it's hard for me to take any of this serious.
Which is why Joke is doing so much heavy lifting in that closing rant. So let me land this fairly. What happens next is pretty predictable. If the backlash keeps growing, expect a soft clarification from the Players Association, something about protecting members, nothing about reversing course. Expect at least one smart brand to go straight to Cunningham with a personal deal, because that door is wide open and the smart money always finds the open door. And expect the bootleg sellers to have their best month of the year no matter which way this breaks. The bigger picture is the part worth arguing about. This is a league sitting on the best attention it has ever had, in a stretch where every single business decision gets magnified, and the story of the week is that its own players' union reportedly cannot figure out how to let fans buy a shirt of a finger. Caitlin Clark brought the audience. Sophie Cunningham handed that audience an inside joke, and inside jokes are how casual viewers become fans, and how fans become customers. A functional operation bottles that. This one filed it under derogatory. So here is your choice, and I want it in the comments. Is the union right to keep every confrontation moment off official shelves, no exceptions, not even this one, or did they just prove they would rather protect a policy than grow the sport? Pick one side and defend it below, and if this breakdown earned it, the like button and the subscribe button are right there. See you in the next one.